Hey, on my Travel Wins podcast, I'm looking at Heidi Cortez. Heidi is I like your title, the American Entrepreneur.
Thank you so much.
That's an awesome title.
Thank you.
You have multiple books out. You're an author. I really want to talk to you about the $3 marketing program. You've done modeling.
Awesome.
You're a mom. You got a lot going on.
Thank you. It's been very adventurous.
There's a good word for it. And I definitely want to talk to you about how the lockdown has affected your business. I know a lot of authors weren't able to promote their books and do a lot of the book tours and all that.
All of my publications are from years ago, so I didn't write anything during the pandemic to publish a new book until 2021, until January, and then I published a guide. I want to say it's not really a full book because it's less than 30 pages, but I published that myself, and that's on Amazon and through my website. It's called Get Verified and Profit Like a Boss, and it talks about the verification process with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So a lot of people, they want to grow their brand, but they're not really sure how to get that blue check mark. So I wrote a book about that, but that was in January. But during the pandemic part, that's when we were working on the $3 Marketing Club.
Oh, perfect. So you just kind of use that time to get the next program started, huh?
Yeah, working from home is what I do on a regular basis. So the pandemic really didn't affect me the way that it had affected a lot of other people. So I was very fortunate to be able to continue to work from home. And then the $3 Marketing Club, my partners and I were trying to think of a way that we could give back, something that would be exciting, something that we had a lot of experience in. And so we created that back in May, and we were fortunate enough to launch it a couple weeks ago. So it's only been live for a few weeks.
The only thing I would tell you, I would definitely be signing up for it. I'm looking at the pay program now. It almost seems too cheap and too good to be true.
Yeah, and that actually has been our only backfire. So we never expected in a million years that people weren't going to believe that it was $3. I thought instantly, okay, everyone's going to be like, oh, $3, great, let me sign up. And I thought that, maybe there might even be a website crash or something like that, because we really were trying to give back and hopefully have hundreds of thousands of subscribers over the years. And I actually have done a lot of customer service, my partners and I, with people asking questions. Well, okay, great. Well, how much is the second month? I'm like, $3.
Exactly.
And they're like, well, how much is it in 12 months? I'm like, it's $3. And so people, sometimes they'll stop responding to me because they think it's a hustle or something like that. But no, it truly is $3. And we will probably maybe even work on the design of the website a little bit more to change it up, since we're having that kind of feedback that people don't believe it. They do believe it is too good to be true. But, the same kind of system has already been done a million times with other things like the Dollar Shave Club, right? So there was all these razors that were costing way too much money. People were overpaying for them and they didn't have a choice. And then they came out with the Dollar Shave Club, and people were blown away because they did get a really good product for less. And that's exactly what we're doing with the $3 Marketing Club, because there's all these huge marketing agencies out there, and they're price gouging. They're ripping people off. There's all these, service charges. And the $3 Marketing Club is like, hey, we'll provide all these secrets for you. We'll give you all this information. We want to make it valuable and affordable for everybody. There should be no reason a business should not succeed because they can't afford what the big marketing agencies are charging.
It's so true. I get hit up, and I'm a small fry in the world, but I get hit up all the time about, use this for your Instagram, use this for your TikTok, use this for, and it's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. If not thousands. And my partners and I have been doing this for decades. We've been in the marketing industry since I was in my early 20s, especially social media. I was an influencer MySpace. And this is, really what I do. And a lot of people didn't really realize that I had this career, in front of the camera with Sunset Tan and working with Sirius Radio or being a model, all those other things that they didn't know that I was really branding myself and doing marketing, all that stuff behind the scenes. So when my partners and I created this idea for the $3 Marketing Club, we were like, okay, well, let's not just do social media. Let's just not do copywriting or podcasting. Let's do it all. Yeah. So every single month, our subscribers get a brand new course in a different niche. So all the major marketing niches are covered in the $3 Marketing Club because everyone needs to know everything and find out what works for their business or what not. So you as a podcaster, of course, social media is going to work. Maybe email marketing and SEO, but maybe there's some other things that won't work for you. But it won't matter because it's only $3 a month.
I was going to say $3. I mean, that's not even a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So we're really, really, really excited about it. The goal is to change the marketing industry and really just be able to help out everybody and make it a really big company where everybody says, oh, yeah, I love the $3 Marketing Club.
Yeah, and you get, I'm sure you hear it more often than I do, but with a lot of the business owners I talk to, even just on the podcast, whether it's an entertainer, or an actual business person, or an athlete, I always tell them, an athlete, you have to brand yourself.
Absolutely, branding is very important.
They don't. A lot of the athletes I talk to don't look at it that way. They go, well, I'm an athlete. I'm a cowboy, or I just ride horses, or I just ride a bike, and but they don't.
I believe a lot of them don't know how to brand themselves, and even when I was younger, I'm like, well, how am I going to set myself aside? How am I going to be different? And I remember when I was in my early 20s and I was modeling, and I would say, well, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to be the next Ryan Seacrest. And then people are like, you can't do all these things. That's not a brand. You're all over the place. And they constantly have told me that I was all over the place and I can't do everything. And I'm like, you know what? That's my niche. I am doing all these things. I'm, a real entrepreneur. I do have my hand in all of these buckets, or what do they say? Your hand in all the different jars.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I really enjoy it. And if I were to do just one thing, I would get bored.
Well, so here's a big question I have for you. How do you balance? How have you balanced? Your son's in the infantry now, but how did you balance being an entrepreneur with so many fires going on and still raising a son and having having friends and family and love life and all that other stuff? How do you balance all that?
Well, thank you. It was definitely very challenging. I was not, I didn't come from a wealthy background. I grew up with a single mom, brother, sister. We definitely worked very, very hard our entire lives. I started working at 13 years old, never looked back. And I did have my son at 18. So right when I was an adult, I had my son, and I never wanted to rush into marriage. It just wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was really independent. I wanted to pursue my entrepreneur career. And so it was just my son and I this whole time until he left to go to the military. And, I've just been very fortunate to where I've been able to have time, and I love to work. So my career is actually my hobby. To me, it's the same thing. I love it. I have no problem working 80 or 90 hours a week versus someone that, might throw in the towel after 40 hours because they finished their work week. For me, I can just keep going. And I've always been into the internet and social media, like I said, even MySpace. So I was building kind of like my back end and laying the foundation many, many years ago for where I'm at today. And I had no problem doing it. For me, I don't want to say that it was easy, but I had a very well-behaved child. And when we moved to Los Angeles from Nevada. I didn't have any family here. It was just me and my son. I didn't really have that many friends. I didn't have nannies or babysitters. I was just like, okay, buddy, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do it. I promise you it's going to be a better life here. And I'm glad that we did. And he's very thankful for that too.
Oh, yeah. So let me ask you this question then. As someone that already has been through the raising of the family, what would you say to someone that's, I don't know, 25 to 30, a female, that's a single mom, and might have a child that could be anywhere from 7 to 5 or what, in that ballpark. How difficult would it be for them to build up their own business, no matter what it is, not just, marketing or whatever, but building a brand?
Well, I think these days it's a lot easier because we do have social media and the internet. So it's easier for men or women to build a brand or a business online. So when I was a little bit younger than that, like around 24, I couldn't just have this online business. There really wasn't an opportunity for that yet. And that's when I built my tanning salon, because when I thought of a business, I thought, okay, I have to have an actual place. So I feel that this younger generation, 24, 25, 26, 27, or if they're a mom, that they do have a huge advantage, because really having an online business, you're opening up your opportunities to the entire world. I mean, there's so many people that you could, open up your business to. So I would suggest to them to just, come up with a really, really, really good idea, talk about your idea to friends and family, see what they think about it. And you could start a brand new business really for like less than a couple $100.
Yeah.
I actually did an interview for a magazine a couple weeks ago, and they asked me what was my startup cost for the $3 Marketing Club, and I own a social media agency as well called unwavering, and they were asking me what my startup cost was for that, and the model advisor, all these different things. I said, believe it or not, every single one of my businesses that are virtual, they're online, I've started for less than $1,000. So you can make a lot of money with just putting in a tiny, tiny bit of money. Not that $1,000 is a tiny bit of money, but the $3 Marketing Club, that cost me less than $1,000.
Well, would most of your expenses be with the website design?
No, even that, my partners and I, we handle that ourselves. We'll do 99% of the work ourselves. So instead of outsourcing other people, we already know this skill, so we just do everything ourselves.
Well, how key is that to get partners that have talents in other areas that you might not?
It's very important, right? Yeah. So you definitely want to have partners that complement you. And my partner, he lives in Chicago, and we're partners on a couple of things. And he definitely compliments me. And sometimes when I want to spend money on something, he's very adamant about, nope, we're not spending money on that. And, sometimes he's wrong and I'm right. So it works out very well. I'm very fortunate. And you know what? Even him, I actually just met on Facebook. So I didn't go out looking for a partner or a mentor. It just actually happened. I asked a question on Facebook about one of my other businesses that I used to have, and he answered it. And then we just started exchanging messages back and forth on Facebook. This was about at least 12 to 15 years ago. And now he's my partner with many things.
That's pretty awesome, though. I mean,
thank you.
And that's to me, that shows the power of social media. Like I'm in my 50s, so there's a lot of older people that social media, it's ruining kids and blah blah blah. And I'm like, there are so many good, cool things that you could be doing with it. It's just what do you choose to do with it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that social media really is one of the greatest things ever. I can honestly say that Instagram has changed my life. It gave me more credibility, and more people were able to discover me and hear about my story, my brand. So to me, I don't know. I just love social media so much. I can't imagine life without it now. I think it's such a great opportunity to be a part of it.
Well, is it the chicken or the egg? Because you've had success using social media, you like it, or did you like it? And you know what I mean? Did you like it first, or did you? Because there's a lot of people that are just negative. Yeah.
Huh?
There are a lot of people that are just negative, and so like,
Right.
man, blah blah blah. For me, I'm struggling with TikTok. I don't know how to convert my podcasting into TikTok fame, but
Well, TikTok's pretty awesome. I like TikTok too.
I do too.
It seems very fun, and I like that you can add music on it, and I do like TikTok a lot. I'm not as popular on TikTok or as great on TikTok as I am on Instagram, but I do find it a lot of fun. I do find myself on TikTok for many hours.
Too many. It's interesting. I most of my things get like 150 to 200 views. Yeah, I just started a few months ago. I had one video. I was on the pier at Manhattan Beach, and I used the Jaws music while guys were surfing to show. Anyways, it's like over 250,000 views now.
Oh wow, good for you!
And
you're killing it.
I have no idea why. I want to figure it out.
Did you use certain hashtags?
No.
Did you have a lot of shares?
I don't know. Let me see.
Maybe a lot of people are sharing your video. Got a new.
Let's see. 269,000 views.
Incredible.
3,500 likes, 16 comments, and I don't see the shares. But I'll work out that later.
Okay. Yeah, no. Good job.
Well, and I think that's what a lot of people think they're too old for it, or they don't have the skills for it. Or, there's a million excuses. Have you always been an entrepreneur?
Always. My whole life, absolutely. I was selling candy at a young age, door to door. I'd get the candy at Costco, put it in coffee mugs with a ribbon, sell it door to door. I would lie. I would say, this is for my school trip, whatever. And actually, I got in trouble doing that. I did get caught lying. I actually sold candy. I sold candy to my teacher's wife, not even knowing it. Just by crazy coincidence, I knocked on the door of my teacher's wife, and I said I was selling candy for a school trip. And she said, "Oh, what school do you go to?" And I told her what school I went to, she right away knew that I was lying. And she said, "Oh, I'll buy all the coffee mugs from you." And I was like, "Okay, great." I was so excited. And then she said, "I'll just write you a check made out to your school name." And I was all, and I was like so scared to say anything different. So I just said, "Okay, sure." And I took the check that was made out to my school, and I went home and I figured, well, I'm just going to take the losses. This is what happens in business. I'll take the loss, and that's it. Well, she told the school, and she called me, threatening me, telling me to give her back her check, that I was a little hustler. And I actually got suspended from school for it for like 3 days. I was only like 11 years old.
You troublemaker.
I know. So, yes, I've been an entrepreneur as far back as I can remember. And, I started working at a young age, too. So I definitely worked my way up. I used to work a bunch of just average jobs, regular worldly jobs. I did retail. My first, real quote-unquote job was working for Ross Dress for Less, when I was 13.
Yeah.
I used my sister's birth certificate and social security card and said I was her. Her name's Courtney. So I worked at 13 years old, and they thought that I was 17 years old because I thought I was her. I used her resume and everything, and I got away with it for about 4 months before my sister got mad at me and called Ross and told them that I was her little sister that took her ID. So even back then, I was trying to earn money. I was trying to work. I saved up. And that's ultimately how I was able to open up my tanning salon at such a young age. I saved up since I was a kid.
Well, what takes... so there are a lot of entrepreneurs and people that start businesses. What made you special? And how do you go from owning a tanning salon in Reno, in the northern Nevada, to being on Sunset Tan? Where does that... that doesn't seem like it connects.
Pete, it's actually it's kind of a funny story because I actually was going to be filming a show about my life, what I was doing as an entrepreneur and owning this tanning salon back home in Reno. And during the time that I was filming this about myself, at this time I also worked for Sirius Radio. So we had a lot going on that we were filming. Sunset Tan came out on the E channel. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, there's no way there's going to be two shows about tanning. Like, they beat me to it. They have this huge empire. They already owned like 7 salons or something at the time. And so because I was kind of popular already on MySpace, I reached out to the owners of Sunset Tan. And I said, oh, I would love to be a part of your show, this and that. And they actually wrote back. They were like, oh, yeah, come down. The producers would love to meet you. And at that time, I thought, okay, great. They want me on their show. I win. It's that simple. Yeah. And I remember coming down to Los Angeles, and I had to do a casting like everybody else. And there was like 100 people there that the producers were seeing. And I had no idea that I didn't just have the part, that they were, or auditioning all these people. So after, them auditioning like 100 people or whatever it was, they called me back and said they wanted me to come back in, and then ultimately gave me the position there at Sunset Tan. So it helped build the credibility and success of my tanning salon back home. So normally I probably wouldn't have just gone on another show or a reality show at that time, but because I wanted my salon to succeed and be popular, going on Sunset Tan was a really great decision. I was on for 2 seasons. It was a lot of fun. I wouldn't, change it for anything. So that's how it happened. That's how I ended up from owning a tanning salon to be on a show about tanning.
But, it's the interesting part, I think, and hopefully the people listening that want to learn how to build a business, is you took the extra step of contacting the people at Sunset Tans. So many people would not do that.
And, to be honest, that's how I've really built my entire career. And I talk about networking a lot. I didn't get just lucky. Nobody, quote unquote, discovered me or anything like that. I really, really put a lot of time and work into it. And I would reach out to companies all the time, including even a long time ago when I worked in radio. I reached out to radio personalities, and that's how I got to work for Sirius Radio. And then when I worked for Sirius Radio, Simon Schuster contacted me to talk about possibly writing a book. And I didn't even believe that, because Simon Schuster was the only company that I wasn't physically reaching out to myself. I was like, wow, funny. Someone's actually coming to me. And I didn't believe it, but I really did. I reached out to everybody. And still to this day, I believe in sending DMs and networking all the time, because you want a strong network. You want to be able to talk to other people and work with them or collab with them. And just like you and I are talking, it is through messages. And sometimes people will say, well, she won't answer my message or something like that. But I definitely try to read and go through as many as possible. And I personally will reach out and DM people all the time, or companies, and just introduce myself. I'm not trying to sell something. I'm not, saying something that's going to be a turnoff to them. I'm just saying, hey, nice to connect with you. I saw your page. I just want to introduce myself. And that is really how I've built my circle. It really was just starting from the bottom and introducing myself.
It's 100% agree with you. That's exactly how I built my podcast.
It's perfect, and it's working for you.
Well, the number one question I always get by some of my podcast friends is, how do you get these people? And I go, I ask.
Yeah.
It's like, I just ask. I find out what I need to find out, whether it's their PR person or a friend of a friend or whatever. It's like, but you got to ask. And
definitely. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't ask. And I talk about that. I say the worst someone's going to do is not respond to you or say no. Who cares? Just ask somebody else.
I've asked so many people that haven't responded. It's whatever,
Yeah, absolutely.
You get
Same
happy.
with me.
Yeah, you get happy with the ones that you get. So
Absolutely. And, it's definitely a way to build a business, and especially doing podcasting. I think that's a great thing you're doing, just reaching out to people. And I highly recommend everyone else to do it too, because even my social media business, I reached out to a lot of influencers and verified people,
yeah,
and I just said, okay, I'm just going to reach out to all these people. And sometimes I would even send, 50 or 60 DMs a day, up until Instagram would tell me you sent too many DMs.
simmer down.
And
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Because that's how you get stuff done. It might only be 1% that responds to you, but you can make good money off that 1%. So I just keep going.
it could be a good 1%. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you? I guess I'll end it with this. What do you think's made the difference for you between so many people that want to be an entrepreneur or a branded person versus you actually have done it? What do you think was it having the son at 18, or your parents, or just a whole combination of things?
That's a good question. I definitely have. I'm very determined to do things. Once I start thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I really, really have to go as far as I can with something. I'm a hard worker, and I'm not lazy when it comes to work. I like my own money. I didn't want to work for
Yeah.
somebody else. I wanted my own schedule, especially as a single mom. So I guess that's what made me a little bit different, is that I really just didn't want to work for anybody else. So I would do anything to avoid ever having to sell shoes again or to work at Ross. Like, I would do anything to avoid that. I mean, I really worked really hard at a young age that I'm almost traumatized sometimes when I think about working at Ross at 13, and I had a name tag that said Courtney, and they would say, Courtney, register 13, Courtney, register 13. And I'd be like, oh, la, 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 hanging up stock or something.
That Courtney girl, she better get over there.
Yes. And another employee would be like, Courtney, what are you doing? You're going to get in trouble. You need to be at the register. I'm like, oh, yes, that's me. So, like, just thinking about how I lived that lie for, $4.75 an hour. And I really just worked so hard. I never showed up late. I never called in sick. I wanted that paycheck, but I don't want to go back to being bossed around and someone that doesn't respect me or respect my time. And unfortunately, a lot of people that do work for bosses, they feel the same way. They're like, man, my boss is such a jerk. My boss doesn't appreciate me. And I just don't want to be in that feeling. So like I said, I will do anything to avoid working 40 hours for somebody else in a 9-to-5 job. That's just definitely not a part of my personality. And, I will push the limits, and I will do whatever it takes to survive. And there's no giving up.
There's no option on that, right?
No option. Absolutely not. And, I tell people all the time, you really need to find something that you love to do. So don't do something just because, you might make $100,000 on it or $100,000 a year. Do something that you really, really, really love, because if you have a passion for it, it's going to be so much easier, and it's going to be easier to sell. So because I have a huge passion for marketing and social media, it's easier for me to sell it to somebody because I truly believe in my services and my products. It's a lot funner too.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you love doing podcasting. I'm sure this was,
Yep.
one of your dreams, and you love to do it. And that's what makes everything easier.
Especially for me, I don't monetize my podcast yet. So it's just a labor of having fun and love and getting to know people and network, and it's much more than I ever expected. So it's just crazy.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And the more guests you have, the more podcasts you do. And as long as you, stick with it, then those shares and those likes and those views, they just continue to grow.
Yep.
Everyone has to start somewhere, right?
That's it. I didn't know anything about this before, so going from 0 to 100 is perfect.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to eat up too much more of your time. What's the best way for my listeners to follow you or see what you have going on, or check out the $3 marketing program?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. You're a really awesome guy, and I like that you're right here in Los Angeles. Everyone can find me on my Instagram. My handle is at Heidi Cortez or HeidiCortez.com. And the $3 Marketing Club is $3marketingclub.com. And we're really excited about the $3 Marketing Club. I'm ecstatic for it. So thank you so much for saying that the price was too good to be true. I mean, it's definitely the real deal. And I kind of joke around with people. I say, oh, you're right. It's not going to be $3 forever. You know, if you don't sign up now, it might be $3.99 next year. You know? So,
hey, that'd be a 25% increase. So
yeah, well, that's okay. You know, the dollar shave club's not $1 anymore. But yeah, no, it really is $3. So you can learn every single major marketing niche ever. I mean, we do podcasting. We teach on SEO, email marketing,
reputation management. Yeah, I mean it's a whole full service package.
Yes, everything you possibly ever think of. And each month we give you a step-by-step guide to help you or your employees plug the service directly into your business. So it's not like you just watch these courses and you're like, okay, great. Well, what do I do with this? We give you a step-by-step guide, kind of like when you own a franchise or you buy a franchise, they tell you exactly how to do it. That's what we do too. We tell you exactly how to succeed with these marketing secrets and advice that we're telling you. So we make it very simple that anybody can learn. So it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. If you have an online business, if you are a dentist office, a restaurant, it doesn't matter. We're going to show you how to do all the marketing yourself so you don't have to pay the big, greedy, big marketing agency.
And the one nice thing I'll tell you too is you can cancel at any time. It's not
yeah, you can cancel at any time. We joke about that. We say you can cancel at any time, but you probably won't. Yeah, we don't care. We actually tell everybody if they don't believe that the course that they just learned is worth 100 times more than what they paid, please contact us. We'll give you right back your $3. We don't care at all. We will be embarrassed if you don't think it's worth it, but that's what we want to do. We just want to make it so simple, so easy, no risk. Let's just all try and make our businesses happen and succeed and not get ripped off.
Sounds like a plan.
That's the end goal.
I will check it out myself, and I'll throw in some good words. So,
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Pete. It's so great to meet you, and good luck on your podcast and everything that you're doing.
Thank you,
I look
Heidi.
forward to putting this podcast as well on my social media.
Oh, I really appreciate that. So,
no problem.
We'll stay in touch and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks,
Talk
Heidi.
to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.